Workplace violence incidents are on the rise, and media coverage has increased the public's awareness of these events. It is clear that employers need to provide some measures to protect employees from this and other forms of workplace violence. The City of Tampa has a very active and robust emergency management program. As a city employee, you have received information and training regarding emergency preparedness, including your participation in the annual Know Your Role survey and updates, as well as See Something, Say Something training, which began with the Republican National Convention held in 2012 and continuing until today. As an employer of choice, the City of Tampa distinguishes itself by selecting and retaining valued employees who provide services to our citizens. The safety of our employees and visitors to our public locations is our highest priority. Today's training is not intended to frighten, but to prepare you with best practice information and techniques before you have the need to use them. After all, you've heard it said that we play like we practice. Let's take this opportunity to get familiar with this important topic so we are prepared in the event of any emergency.
The first emergency situation we will discuss is a bomb threat. The reasons someone makes a bomb threat fall into two basic categories. The first and most common is that of a hoax. In a hoax, no bomb has actually been placed. It's designed to cause a disruption, alarm, or panic, and it gives the perpetrator a feeling of control or power. The other possibility is that a device has been placed successfully in or around a building or at a work location. Notification by phone call, written note, or email may be provided because their main goal is to cause damage to the actual facility, not the occupants. In the event that a bomb does explode and people are harmed, the fact that they warned everyone ahead of time may allow the perpetrator to shift the blame for any casualty to others. Making the initial determination whether the threat is real or a hoax is difficult, so every threat must be taken seriously. The information that comes from the initial contact is critical to help city management and emergency responders determine what steps need to be taken, and quickly. If you receive a bomb threat in the mail or email, immediately notify your department manager and call 911. Do not handle the letter, and definitely do not delete the email. If you receive a threat via phone, it is important that you remain calm and keep the caller on the line as long as possible. Ask them specific questions about the bomb. Where is it? When is it going to go off? What does it look like? While you're on the phone, try to signal or write a note to a coworker that you have a bomb threat on the line to call 911 and notify department management. It may be difficult, but be polite and show interest in the caller while listening for background noises or distinct features of their voice. The information you can get by following these steps will help determine what actions are taken and can even help locate the person on the other end. If you are asked to help with a quick search, or even during a normal day at work, it is important to know how to identify a suspicious package or object in the workplace. Some signs to look for include whether the item arrived under unusual circumstances, if it just showed up. It may have oily stains, discolorations, protruding wires, or a strange odor. The wrapping, tape, string, or postage may be excessive. The writing may be sloppy, with misspellings of common words, wrong titles, or no return address. The city or state in the postmark may not match the return address. Many of these same signs also apply to other items, such as backpacks, bags, or briefcases that should also be considered suspicious if the signs are there. If you ever suspect a suspicious package or object, do not handle or approach the object. Immediately call 911 and notify department management. Keep others away. If an evacuation is ordered as a result of a bomb threat, specific instructions will be given to employees on the evacuation routes to use, and to not use their cell phone or two-way radios. You may also notice that the fire alarms are not activated during the evacuation as well. This is because loud noises, like the fire alarm, cell phone or radio signals, have the potential to trigger an explosive device. Employees must follow these instructions and leave their work area immediately. Once outside, employees will be directed to a safe location and asked to remain there to await further instructions from city management or emergency response personnel. Being aware of your surroundings is always important. During special events, it is particularly critical as we perform the wide variety of day-to-day activities. If you see something that looks out of place or just doesn't seem right, notify your department management and the Tampa Police Department. Do not touch or move objects of concern. As city employees, we are often in a position to escalate potentially dangerous situations. You will never hear us complaining about being called out. At the Tampa Police Department, we would rather come out 100 times to nothing than once for something serious.
This is the girl who saw the guy who did the thing that seemed so strange that she dialed the number for FLA Safe to say what she saw so it got checked out. And wouldn't you know, her call caught the guy who was up to no good and prevented the thing he wanted to do. So families felt safe and played in their yards because she made the call to say what she saw.
Next, let's turn our attention to emergency situations involving an active shooter. Most workplace violence fits into three basic general incident classifications: terrorism, criminal activity, and employee or visitor violence. We will address each of these during today's presentation. While there may be a wide variety of reasons why individuals take violent action, incidents involving an active shooter have several things in common. They tend to be short in duration. The goal of the offender is often to kill or injure as many people as possible. Roughly 46% of all incidents end with the application of force, but individuals on scene have the best chance of influencing the outcome. Offenders themselves exhibit several patterns as well. Their age may vary widely, however, the majority are in their mid to late teens. They usually exhibit some change in behavior beforehand. They're often on a suicide mission. Multiple weapons for them are the norm. They are mobile, with very little to no regard for human life. In other words, they typically don't take hostages. And they don't stop until they're out of ammo, are tired, or are stopped by others. Most often, the factors that lead to these incidents are completely outside of our control. Much analysis of these violent events has taken place, and best practices have been developed to ensure, in the unlikely event that you find yourself in one of these situations, you are familiar with the very best things that you can do to ensure your safety and the safety of those around you. The city of Houston, Texas has produced the following video, which provides a straightforward look at your best options for a safe outcome. We appreciate their permission to include this Run, Hide, and Fight video for our City of Tampa employees.
It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action movie than reality. The authorities are working hard to protect you and to protect our public spaces. But sometimes bad people do bad things. Their motivations are different. The warning signs may vary, but the devastating effects are the same. And unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the worst. If you were ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. There are 3 things you could do that make a difference: run, hide, fight. First and foremost, if you can get out, do. Always try and escape or evacuate, even when others insist on staying. Encourage others to leave with you, but don't let them slow you down with indecision. Remember what's important, you, not your stuff. Leave your belongings behind and try to find a way to get out safely. Trying to get yourself out of harm's way needs to be your #1 priority.
No, stop that guy! Stop that guy! Hey!
Once you are out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone and call 911.
Yes, we're to return to Washington with your phone call. Help us! Help us!
If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide. Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can. Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm. As a last resort, if your life is at risk, whether you are alone or working together as a group, fight. Act with aggression. Improvise weapons. Disarm him. And commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. Try to be aware of your environment. Always have an exit plan. Know that in an incident like this, victims are generally chosen randomly. The event is unpredictable and may evolve quickly. The first responders on the scene are not there to evacuate or tend to the injured. They are well trained and are there to stop the shooter. Your actions can make a difference for your safety and survival. Be aware and be prepared. And if you find yourself facing an active shooter, there are 3 key things you need to remember to survive. Run, hide, fight.
Let's recap what we just saw. It is imperative that we recognize the situation for what it is. Gunshots make a distinct sound. If you hear them, don't waste valuable time questioning what they are. Begin to execute your plan. Run. When an active shooter is in your vicinity, if there's an escape path, attempt to evacuate. Evacuate whether others agree to or not. Leave your belongings behind. Help others escape if at all possible. Prevent others from entering the area that you just left. And make sure that you call 911 when you are safe. If evacuation is not possible, find a place to hide. Lock and or barricade the door. Silence your cell phone. Hide behind large objects. Remain very quiet. Your hiding place should be out of the shooter's view. It should provide protection if shots are fired in your direction. Don't trap or restrict your options for movement. If the opportunity arises to get out, be ready to run. As a last resort, and only if your life is in danger, fight. Attempt to incapacitate the shooter. Act with physical aggression. use improvised weapons, and commit to your actions. For your own safety, remember when law enforcement arrives, you need to remain calm and follow instructions. Raise your hands and keep them visible at all times. Avoid pointing or yelling. Don't hold on to an officer or ask for help or directions. Just proceed in the direction from which the officers are entering the premises. Know that help for the injured is on its way. Be prepared to communicate as much information as you can in detail about the shooter and the scene.
Sadly, there are occasions where violence is at the hands of someone who is known, a current or former employee, or a known customer or visitor to the facility. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has provided the following analysis and guidance when violence is directed at an employer. Intuitive managers and coworkers may notice characteristics of potentially violent behavior in an employee, and recommends that you alert your Human Resources Department if you believe an employee or coworker exhibits potentially violent behavior. This is consistent with our City of Tampa workplace violence policy and our commitment to the health and safety of our employees. Employees typically do not just snap, but display indicators of potentially violent behavior over time. If these behaviors are recognized, they can often be managed. Indicators of potentially violent behavior may include one or more of the following: increased use of alcohol and/or illegal drugs, unexplained increase in absenteeism or vague physical complaints, a noticeable decrease in attention to appearance and hygiene, depression or withdrawal, increased severe mood swings, noticeably unstable or emotional responses, explosive outbursts of anger or rage without provocation, suicidal, comments about putting things in order, a paranoia or the feeling that everybody is against me. They may increasingly talk of problems at home, have an escalation of domestic problems into the workplace, or talk of severe financial problems. Finally, an increase in unsolicited comments about firearms, other dangerous weapons, or violent crimes. In closing, no matter the nature of the emergency event, your actions and the actions of those around you have a tremendous impact on workplace safety. This training has covered the very best information and guidance on what to do in case of an emergency. Take your role seriously and know that you are a very valuable member of the City of Tampa team. We appreciate all you do.